We're going to jump straight into it, guys, and just present the fourth Sales and CRM ANZ HubSpot User Group. If you're new to the Hug, welcome. We're delighted to have you, of course. We're seeing these new faces, which is great. Our previous Hug covered the final session of that three-part series, Developing Your Sales Operating System. The Hug invitation included the recordings and slide decks to those sessions. So if you did miss it, please jump back to those emails. All three sessions, all recordings and slide decks are all present. By way of agenda today, we're going to cover the HubSpot mobile app. Now, it's obviously got a lot of functionality, all centered around salespeople, but we're going to dive into the basics. Always difficult because of the audience. You guys might be more basic, more advanced. We try to cover a nice broad range. There's something for everyone to learn. So we're going to cover setting up, navigation, limitations. We'll look at some pro tips and handy hints, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. And please bank your questions. Pop them in the chat, actually. We've got Nimrod here on standby to curate those or any questions as we go. We look forward to tackling those at the end. So presenting your speakers today, myself, Glenn Miller. I'm your co-host today, and I'm a co-founder at Lupo Digital. By way of background, I consult, I train, I coach, I help optimize sales teams and their CRM here at Lupo Digital. We help enhance those sales teams in terms of their performance to increase ROI and their sales results in every way. And just to give you more context, Lupo pioneer a phrase we've coined, sales operating system. We implement those, but we're also HubSpot purists, specifically across sales and CRM, marketing, platform, the service hub, websites, integrations, lead gen, and lead nurturing. So it's with great pleasure to that end that I introduce my co-host in our nice little intimate setting today, Michael Wolf. Welcome, Mike.
Awesome, Glenn. Thank you so much. So look, it's with great pleasure that I joined this Hug community. The first three sessions I've been watching that have run absolutely beautifully. So it's really beautiful to join the Hug community. I'm one of the co-founders of Lupo Digital. Glenn and I founded Lupo over 6 years ago, and it's been a fantastic journey. By way of background, I've run other B2B organizations and sales team prior to Lupo, and also prior to the internet. And I think it's important to stress that prior to the internet, the principles of sales operating systems have been exactly the same. So look forward to jumping straight into the sales, into this HubSpot mobile app. So let's go straight into it, Glenn.
Thanks, Mike. So across our various clients at Lupo, we're regularly presented with pain points that users are experiencing from the mobile app. For example, things like, I can't do what I want to do on the mobile app, the same as I do on desktop. You know, when I'm out on the road, Mike, the app drives me crazy. I can't find it. It's not adequate. Can't find what I need. I've got 30 filters on desktop, so why do I only have 14 on the mobile app? The app is slow. So we're sure that there's many more issues that you may have personally and that you experience. And today we're going to try and highlight maybe some of the critical ones, Mike, that will help you guys solve for day-to-day issues.
Yeah. So look, in terms of everybody's experience on the mobile app, we're not quite sure, but we thought we'd just cover a broad range. So just looking, everybody on today's session would have downloaded numerous apps on your phone or smart device. However, the mobile CRM app in some ways is somewhat different. It aims to deliver, if you can just make that a bit bigger, Glenn. So it aims to deliver an experience of the desktop CRM, but remains available on your mobile phone, smart device, or tablet. Importantly, the HubSpot mobile CRM enables your customer-facing teams to access important information in real time, whether they have their computer nearby or not. So, as you travel between meetings, or even as an inside rep who wants to be more flexible or how you work, the mobile app is designed to remove friction from a process. But reiterating here that the mobile app works in conjunction with your desktop version, which will empower you to work faster, more efficiently, and more accurately. But it's not intended to replace your desktop experience, but rather act as a mirror to augment your sales routine when mobile. Okay, so just absolute basics. HubSpot app is available on both iOS and Android. And the first time you open your app, you'll need to log in to your HubSpot account with exact same credentials as your desktop version. And that's whether you use Google to sign on or a single sign-on exactly the same credentials. And once done, you'll be taken to your home screen, which is your default screen, and confirming once you get there, which I'm sure most of you know, you're one tap away from all functionality. So, Glenn?
Great, Mikey. Thanks. So again, just chatting with Sue before the hug today, mentioning inbound, and obviously that's HubSpot's big event of the year to kind of unpack new features. But I think a lot of attention's gone to the mobile app because it hasn't always been amazing. But one of the obvious changes as you log into the app has recently been the new home screen. Now, if you're not using the app a lot, you may not have noticed that. Just when you logged in, you wouldn't have known any wiser. The first screen you see is the summary of your day's activity. So just dovetailing what Mike just conveyed about it not being the desktop app, it's specifically designed about being mobile and being on the move. That first screen is a summary of your day, so to speak, your upcoming tasks, your upcoming meetings, your forecasting tool. Now, obviously, it has the prerequisite that you've actually configured and set up those tools. So if you haven't set up those tools, they might look bland, but obviously if you are using meetings, you've linked that into your HubSpot calendars. You're using the tasks tool, which you can see in your calendar now as well. It's just a one-stop shop. And then obviously the forecasting tool, if you're paying for a Sales Pro license. Also at the bottom of the screen, as you see in those little screenshots, those pink arrows, there's a new, what we call toolbar. Now in there are just some essential items, which we'll show you in a few slides. You've got the little plus sign to actually add items, a contact, a note, a task, to mention a few, deal record, a social post. Yes, a social post if you have connected the social tool, and even creating a new email all happens with that plus sign. And then the magnifying glass, which is searches just like your HubSpot top right corner of the desktop app. That little magnifier will search the whole mobile app just by keywords you enter in. And probably, Mark, we're not getting many business cards anymore, but occasionally you do.
Have you got a business card, by the way? I don't think I've got a business card.
I've just moved house, and I found one, and I'm like, oh, remember those days? I know we hopefully all smiling. I don't even know where mine are. No, but this is one of my personal favorites, where you literally scan the card, and that OCT reader literally sucks out the. I mean, we're seeing this all now in Android.
Great for events, obviously.
Amazing for events. Even like Apple, Android, it's built into your photos now. You can scan. HubSpot's way ahead of that curve, but for those that do, exactly, at a conference, inbound, it's a great place to just get the contacts straight into your CRM very quickly.
Okay, so just before diving in and actually looking at the functionality, confirming there are 4 primary settings, which we'll briefly run through, which are namely, and just make that a little bit bigger.
Yeah, just coming into the keyboard.
Yeah, okay, let's go into the keyboard.
Yeah, so it's just coming into the keyboard first there, guys. And a lot of people, there were emails that went out. A lot of people don't actually know this. And I'm going to just go a bit slow because just pointing out something here. So HubSpot have actually built their own iOS for Apple, or in Android. If you're in your keyboard day to day and you're just typing, you've got that little button you click for your emojis. And in iOS, at least, that links you then into language. So if you're multilingual, you might keep cycling through with that little world icon or the emoji icon to bring up different keyboards in your iOS. Now, if you've got your Gmail open or Outlook, so any app you have open, then you load in, even WhatsApp, you load in that keyboard. HubSpot have designed a keyboard that has inherited those same toolbar features you're used to finding, for example, in email. So a lot of people don't know about this, but within your phone settings, if you go to the settings and then keyboard, you can actually plug in the HubSpot keyboard, which then gives you shortcuts to your snippets, scheduling pages. If you're using the quotes and documents tools in HubSpot, you can access those through that keyboard. So I know we're going a bit off tangent. You're not necessarily in the HubSpot app, but wherever you are on your phone in any app, you can then draw on that HubSpot keyboard to quick draw snippets and scheduling things. Now, some people even put in snippets for other apps, leveraging the HubSpot tool to do that. So it's a bit of a pro tip, and I suppose for your benefit, we've just linked there a deeper dive through the HubSpot knowledge base article to do that. Next in that settings menu, we'll just take a little look at, and I suppose just quickly unpacking caller ID. So firstly, with that mobile app, you do need to go into the settings and then just click the call settings and configure caller ID. And that way, when people ring in and their CRM record is in your mobile app, your phone will show you when it brings up that iOS or Android incoming caller, you'll see, I know you know what caller ID is, but you do need to just tweak those settings. And again, we've just linked a knowledge base article there for you. And then finally in that settings screen is sometimes the notifications can really drive us mad. So you can click on the notifications to set those. And then lastly, if you're used to working in dark mode or you just find the app easier in dark mode, you can obviously turn it on and off inside the settings area. Mike, back to you.
Okay, so just a couple of confirmations here. Now that you've set up, every time you log in, you'll be taken to your home screen, and just confirming there are 4 core navigation options. Now, the bulk of us spend most of our time in CRM, especially on the mobile app, and within CRM, primarily contacts and companies, but obviously we've got access to deals, tasks, your activity feed, tickets, and recorded calls as well. If you want to access the Marketing Hub, you can do so. We've got conversations, obviously in the inbox, and from a dashboard or reporting point of view, obviously we've got, we can access all the reports within the dashboard as well. And just a small reminder, as Glenn said earlier, you've got that search option, which is available in the mobile app now as well. Alrighty, so let's just take a look at navigating a contact record. And again, the company record would be exactly the same. Calls, text, email. You're taken immediately to the default options on your phone. So you're just one tap away from calling, texting, and email on your mobile device, and confirming all emails will be tracked as and you can access templates on your mobile device as well, provided they set up on your desktop as well. And then you can access, as per desktop, all activities, associations, and about your contact or company record as well. Alrighty, staying on contact records, filters. You can filter activities as per your desktop version. You can add notes, create tasks, log activities, and you can view the timeline of all activities as per desktop. Glenn, back to you.
Great. So this is also where in our invite, you guys submitted some questions, and just highlighting here, we're going to unpack a couple of those. So, and I suppose these are a little bit of a pro tip or in some way a hack, but we will give you that solution. So basically, we'll just unpack the saved views. And just to be clear, if you're using those on your desktop, if you go into contact records and you've pre-created a filter and then you've saved that filter, that's what's referred to as a saved view. And on the desktop, HubSpot recently shuffled things about, and it wasn't pretty obvious where those views almost disappeared to, but they still locate. Again, isolating the mobile app version of those saved views, once you are in fact in your contact record and you click into these little drop menu filters, which are indicated in at the bottom, as per the screenshot you're seeing on the right, filtered contacts, you're seeing those views are now listed. So it's a little bit confusing because the top of this says filtered contacts. On the bottom, you're seeing created by me, and those are actually the filters, not filters, sorry, saved views, which include your filters, apply across contacts, companies, and deals. But again, in this example, just showing you contacts or company screen, that's where you can find the saved deals. Now, the second question that we had was, if a user has submitted a form on my website and I now go into that activity timeline on a contact record. So on my screen, you're seeing the contact record for Michael Wolf, and you're seeing under October 2022, a logged call, a marketing email. That is where you would see a form submitted. Now, the problem is that on the mobile app, you only see the summary that a form was submitted, the date and time. And the question we've had is, how do I actually see the physical fields that user submitted? And again, just to slow it down, this is where we need to get a little bit creative. And again, keep in mind that HubSpot's mobile app is a bit read-only, as Mike said before. It's a mirror, and it augments what you do on the run. So some of that functionality is limited. So in terms of how you find that, 2 ways. On the About screen, seeing that on my screen, in the screen, just under the words contact record at the top, on a contact record in the About section, to the right, you've got a little edit button, and that lets you edit the properties that you see about this contact record. So in terms of the hack I'm referring to, you either need to add the fields from your forms. So maybe it's one regular form on your contact us page. That's the most important one. Or a guide that's downloaded. Those 5 properties, first name, mobile, email address, are the 2 qualifying questions. The idea is to move those qualifying questions into the edit fields that you see in the about section. And that way, that, the 7 form and that download form, you can see always on in the mobile app. That's hack number 1. Hack number 2 is, and this applies later on, is actually opening a browser like Safari or Chrome and logging into HubSpot almost as the desktop view through your Chrome browser. So again, it's not through the mobile app, but through your browser. Obviously, it's not as user-friendly because it's a very small screen and you're looking at your HubSpot instance via a desktop view. But that is the only other way that we've hacked to finding those traditional form view on your timeline with all the fields that a user has submitted. Mike, over to you.
Okay, so just switching to deals and your pipeline in the mobile app. Obviously, toggle as per board view on your desktop. You can access all your saved views. You can create a deal on the app, but probably importantly, you can edit or modify deal properties within your app. So it's a lot of edit functionality on deals as well. Alrighty. So looking at the activity feed. So I don't know about you guys, but this is something that I don't often. Then, do you look at your activity feed? How often would you look at your activity feed?
I look daily. I'm in there, like when we're in sales mode, obviously.
Yeah.
But sometimes those days become a couple days.
Yeah. So I don't look at my activity feed as often as I should. I've got to be honest. But the reality is, on the mobile app, you can look at your activity feed and you can filter by all activities, by opens, by clicks, by sent, by prospect visits, document views, meetings, forms. I mean, it's really rich data. So
it's super helpful.
It's super helpful, and I'd encourage everyone to do that, quite frankly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then I think this is also like a newish feature, and we'll just cover a few additional features that HubSpot's recently chucked in there. Again, if you're not using the app all the time, it's just useful to know this. Some businesses use the conversations inbox in HubSpot, live chats, responding to inquiries. So they've brought in the conversations tool, as indicated in the middle of that screenshot there, the conversations. And also you can organize your tasks now in app, as well as seeing your dashboards, which is pretty cool. Often, salespeople might be out on the road on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever the routine. And we used to have those meetings in the office, but you could actually do those remotely then if they can access the dashboards straight from their hand.
Probably just a small caveat. Every dashboard is downloaded, but not every dashboard is visible.
That's right.
Yeah.
Important.
Yeah. But there's numerous dashboards available and numerous reports, obviously.
Awesome, Mark. And then I think, guys, the other thing is just in terms of some pro tips and handy hints, once a meeting has been logged, we also had this inquiry, can you go in there and edit that meeting? And unfortunately, you can only edit the meeting on desktop. So this just comes back again, in terms of the questions we had, this comes back to that little hack where if you are on your mobile and you're stuck, can't get to a desktop, log in through the iOS, the Safari or the Chrome browser, as if you're on the desktop, and then you can edit it that way, which is kind of a big takeaway for today, because I think when in doubt and you can't do it on the mobile app, that's kind of the go-to.
I think the limitation is primarily iOS as opposed to Android, actually.
Yeah. We are iOS, or fortunately, users by heart and by nature. But if you are on Android, and again, you can share that in the community after the event or on our socials, please inform us, please update us. And so again, guys, I think just summarizing everything you've heard, and we try to just scrape over the top, but with meaningful value adding. Number one is just get across the recent updates to the app. No better way other than pulling your phone out and having a play. It's just, I think the backdrop or the lens is, it's not the desktop experience, but it's rather this mirror to augment your sales routine. And it's very much sales focused. So a lot of that editable functionality is mainly around the sales tools, Marky, creating context, the real basics. This new home screen, go in there, play around with it if you haven't. And then obviously, I think this is worth reinforcing. If you've noticed when you've been on your desktop even that, you might have gone into contacts, applied a filter, phone rang, lunch came up, ran out the office, came back, closed your screen. Now you reopen it. HubSpot remembers your last session, your last browsing session. And the desktop app can be quite similar. If that app's running in the background and you open it back up, it'll kind of be where you last left off if you don't close the app or sign in again.
Yeah.
So just remembering, if you're not finding what you want or that's frustrating you, just start again.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from an augmentation perspective. Even if you're in the office, you've got your desktop, you're using the app. If you're just not in the mood for typing, you can use the microphone to augment.
Yeah, and voice.
Voice, using your voice just to input data on your mobile. It's a lot easier, a lot quicker just to capture data, quite
Absolutely.
frankly.
And also on that note, Mike, we have a lot of users using their VoIP, obviously, to do the calling out of HubSpot. Obviously, the nice thing is when you hang up, it prompts you to capture the call log.
Yeah.
But a lot of people sitting at their desk would prefer to hook up to their mobile and just forget or just didn't realize it's that seamless. Kind of saves a step, because we know when you record a call through HubSpot's desktop, it rings your phone and then it makes that call. So it kind of can just save you some time, especially if you're in a role where you've got to make 100 calls a day. That speeds things up a little bit. And so I think, guys, just by way of bonus material on the slides, we're not going to go through the slide. It will be death by PowerPoint. But we've just included this one page that goes into a little more detail on top of some of these aspects we've talked about by way of a takeaway. So just looking at the clock, and we try to keep this within half an hour, guys. We just come to the end of time here, and it's my pleasure to just hand over to a bit of a Q&A. So for all of those that feel free to come off your mute, and if you do have any questions, we would love to hear them. You can also type them in the chat. I know Nimrod's curating the call. Nimrod, if any questions have come through there, and those that are a bit more sheepish would like us to raise the question and the answer, I might ask you to just come off mute as well and present those questions. So I know everyone is oftentimes a little bit shy at any questions. We'll just talk amongst ourselves and give you a little bit of time.
Actually, Glenn, one thing I was going to say was it's bizarre about that form submission thing, because after I'd sent through the question, I was on my mobile app and someone had submitted a form, and I clicked on it, and God knows how, it actually went through into the form submission on the mobile app. Now, as you've been talking, I'm like, where was that? Can I recreate it? No, I can't. So that's weird. I don't know whether that was a bug or whether, I don't know why that happened.
So one thing I'll suggest, and if you can recreate this, it's good for everyone on the call, is what you might have found is you might have had the summary of the link of the form. And when you click it, again, is the only thing knee-jerk that comes to mind. When you click that link, what it might have done is opened your browser on your phone. At the same time, if you had already logged in at some point that your case remembered. So you might have clicked the link. It might have actually opened your Chrome or Safari or browser to show you the contact record. And that's what we're referring to as this desktop hack. So maybe that's what happened. And I'd say if you can open up a submitted form, click on one of those blue links and just see if it then pops open. You might notice it's your full navigation in mobile design, but it might be fooling you that it's opening up in a browser.
Cool.
And if other than that, that's not what's happening, please let us know, because we'd love to. We're always learning, you know. But look, hopefully some of these hacks we've shared will help you, and for failure of any other way, hopefully that'll speed it up for you.
Right. Thank you.